The first cry came at dawn, when the Serengeti was holding its breath. Amara lay in the shallow cave, her golden body trembling with exhaustion. 18 hours of labor had nearly broken her, but as she looked down at the small creature between her paws, nothing else mattered. Her cub was alive. He was breathing. He was hers. But something was wrong. In the pale morning light filtering through the cave entrance, Amara saw what the darkness had hidden. Her cub was not golden like her, not tawny like his father. His fur was white, pure, impossible white, like clouds that had forgotten how to rain. His eyes, when they finally opened 3 days later, were not amber. They were pale blue, the color of sky before storm. Amara did not understand genetics. She did not know that somewhere in her bloodline, a recessive gene had been waiting for generations to express itself. All she knew was that her son was different, and in the unforgiving world of the African savanna, different often meant dead. For the first week, Amara kept her cub hidden. She named him Kion, which means spirit in the ancient language of the land. She nursed him in the shadows, cleaned him with her rough tongue, and watched him grow stronger with each passing day. He was small but fierce, his tiny growls already carrying the echo of the lion he would become. But secrets do not survive long in a pride. On the 9th day, the matriarch came. Her name was Zuri, and she had led the Kopi pride for 11 years. She was old now, her muzzle gray and her movements slower than they once were. But her authority remained absolute. When Zuri spoke, the pride listened. When Zuri decided, the pride obeyed. Amara heard her coming long before she appeared at the cave entrance. The heavy footsteps, the labored breathing, the distinctive scent of age and power. She positioned herself over Kion, shielding him with her body, her heart pounding against her ribs. Zuri entered the cave slowly. Her amber eyes adjusted to the darkness, and then they found what they were looking for. For a long moment, neither lioness moved. Zuri stared at the white cub with an expression Amara could not read. Was it curiosity? Fear? Disgust? "I hoped the rumors were wrong," Zuri finally said, her voice like gravel scraping stone. "I hoped they were lies told by jealous sisters." "He is my son," Amara said, surprised by the steadiness in her own voice. "He is healthy. He is strong." "He is white," Zuri said the word as if it tasted of poison. "Do you know what that means, Amara? Do you know what the elders say about white cubs?" Amara knew. Every lioness knew. The old stories spoke of white cubs as omens, as warnings from the ancestors. Some said they brought drought. Others said they attracted hunters. All agreed on one thing. White cubs brought death to those who sheltered them. "Stories," Amara said. "Old superstitions." "Superstitions kept our mothers alive," Zuri replied. "And their mothers before them. The dry season is already the worst in 20 years. Half our hunting grounds have turned to dust. The zebra have migrated early. The wildebeest are gone." She paused, her eyes never leaving Kion. And now, this. Behind Zuri, other lionesses had gathered at the cave entrance. Amara could see their faces in the growing light. Some looked sympathetic. Most did not. "The pride has decided," Zuri said. "The white cub cannot stay." The words hit Amara like a physical blow. She pressed closer to Kion, feeling his warmth against her belly, hearing his soft sounds of contentment. He did not know that his world was about to shatter. He did not know that the family he had been born into had just rejected him. "And if I refuse?" Amara whispered. Zuri's eyes softened, just for a moment. In that brief flash, Amara saw something that looked almost like regret. "Then you leave with him," the matriarch said, "and you never return." Amara left that night, carrying Kion in her jaws as gently as she had ever carried anything in her life. She did not say goodbye. She did not look back. She simply walked into the darkness and kept walking until the sounds and smells of her pride had faded into memory. The first 3 days were not terrible. Amara found shelter in an abandoned termite mound, hunted a young impala that had strayed too far from its herd, and fed her son with milk that flowed freely despite her fear. Kion grew. He played. He discovered his paws and his tail, and the fascinating creatures called insects that crawled through the grass. But on the 4th day, the dominant male found their trail. His name was Tau, and he was everything a male lion should be. Massive, with a mane so dark it looked almost black, with scars on his face that told stories of battles won. He had sired cubs across 3 territories. He had killed rivals twice his number. And he believed, with the absolute certainty of the powerful, that white cubs were abominations that needed to be destroyed. Amara smelled him before she saw him. That musk, that weight of presence that only a full-grown male could carry. She grabbed Kion and ran. What followed was a nightmare that stretched across 14 days. Tau was patient. He did not need to hurry. He knew that a lone lioness with a cub could not hunt effectively, could not rest properly, could not do anything but run and hide and slowly starve. He followed at a distance, always visible on the horizon, a dark reminder of what awaited if Amara ever stopped moving. She lost weight. Her ribs began to show beneath her golden fur. Her milk grew thin, and Kion cried more often, his hunger a constant accusation. She tried to hunt, but hunting required focus, and focus required feeling safe, and safety had become a memory. On the 10th day, she stumbled. On the 12th day, she fell and did not get up for several minutes. On the 14th day, she stopped. The place where Amara finally surrendered was a small ridge overlooking an endless plain of dry grass. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and red that seemed to mock her desperation. She had no strength left. Her legs trembled, her vision blurred at the edges. Kion lay between her front paws, sleeping peacefully despite everything. His white fur had grown thicker over the past 2 weeks, making him look like a small cloud that had chosen to stay on Earth. He did not know they were being hunted. He did not know that his mother was dying. He only knew warmth and milk and the steady heartbeat that had been his whole world since birth. Amara looked down at her son, and for the first time since leaving the pride, she cried. The tears came silently at first, then in great heaving sobs that shook her entire body. She cried for the life she had lost. She cried for the family that had abandoned her. She cried for the unfairness of a world that punished difference with death. And she cried for Kion, her beautiful, impossible son, who deserved so much more than a mother who could not protect him. 200 yards behind her, Tao watched from the shadows. He had been waiting for this moment. The moment when the prey finally broke. The moment when the chase ended and the killing began. He rose from his hiding spot, his massive body moving with surprising grace, his eyes fixed on the white spot between Amara's paws. But something made him pause. Perhaps it was the sound of her crying, so raw and desperate that it touched something even in his predator's heart. Perhaps it was the image of a mother holding her child, a scene so universal that it transcended species and instinct. Or perhaps, as some would later speculate, he simply remembered his own mother, who had once protected him with the same fierce determination now radiating from the broken lioness on the ridge. Whatever the reason, Tao did not attack. He stood there, silhouetted against the dying light, watching Amara cry over her sleeping cub. And when the darkness finally swallowed them both, he turned and walked away. Amara did not understand why Tao left. She would never understand it. All she knew was that when the sun rose on the 15th day, she was still alive. Kion was still alive. And somewhere behind them, the shadow that had followed them for so long was gone. She found water that morning, a small spring hidden in a rocky outcropping, fed by underground sources that the drought had not yet claimed. She drank until her stomach ached, then nursed Kion until he fell asleep with milk still wet on his whiskers. The days that followed were different. Without Tao hunting them, Amara could finally stop running. She established a territory, small but sufficient. She learned to hunt alone, taking down prey that a pride would normally tackle together. She taught Kion to walk, then to run, then to pounce on grasshoppers with all the seriousness of a future king. Weeks turned to months. Kion grew. His white fur became his advantage rather than his curse. In the tall golden grass, he was invisible. Prey that would spot a tawny lion from hundreds of yards away walked right past him, oblivious to the predator hiding in plain sight. One evening, as the dry season finally broke and the first rains fell on the Serengeti, Amara watched her son hunting alone for the first time. He was clumsy, eager, making all the mistakes young predators make. But there was something in his eyes, something fierce and unbreakable, that reminded her of herself on that dark night when she had chosen to leave everything behind. The rain soaked her fur, washing away months of dust and exhaustion. And standing there, watching her white cub pounce on shadows, Amara realized something profound. The pride had called him a curse. They had been wrong. He was her blessing, her reason, her everything. And Amara? She discovered something she had never known in the pride: freedom. As I finish writing this story, I find myself thinking about choices. Every day we face moments that define who we are. Most of these moments are small, forgettable, lost in the endless stream of ordinary decisions that make up a life. But sometimes, rarely, we face a choice that matters. A choice that will echo through years and decades and generations. Amara faced such a choice, and she chose her son. She chose exile over acceptance. She chose hunger over comfort. She chose the terrifying unknown over the familiar cruelty of those who should have loved her. And in doing so, she proved something that the old superstitions had forgotten. White cubs do not bring death. They bring love. Fierce, unconditional, unbreakable love. So let me ask you something. What would you choose? If the world told you that someone you loved was wrong, was cursed, was unworthy of protection, what would you do? Would you listen to the voices of tradition and fear? Or would you walk into the darkness, carrying your truth in your arms, and keep walking until you found a place where it could finally shine? I think I know what Amara would say. I think she would look at you with those amber eyes, still fierce despite everything, and she would ask you a simple question. What is family worth to you? If you have an answer, I would love to hear it. Leave a comment below and tell me about someone you would choose, someone you would walk into exile for, someone who makes the whole world feel small and meaningless compared to their smile. And if this story touched your heart, consider subscribing to Eternal Bonds. Every new member helps us share more stories like this one. Stories about love that refuses to break, about bonds that defy every rule, about the extraordinary courage hiding inside ordinary hearts. Because in the end, that is what we are here for. To remind each other that love, real love, is always worth the price. Always. Thank you for being here. Until next time.